Okay, my guests today are the cutest mom and daughter duo on the planet. Rachel and Cyla Hoffman are the co hosts of a podcast everyone needs to go subscribe to right now. Well, maybe right after listening to this, but either way, it's called She Sounds Like Me. On it, they cover a variety of topics together, and their relatable and lovable personalities will suck you in. They were the perfect fit for an idea I've actually had since the start of the Kid Factory, which is to ask a kid and a mom a few questions to gain insight on each of their perspectives. Listen to them, and I bet at some point you're going to say, She sounds like me.
It's just the best mom ever. You are the best mom ever.
This is the Kid Factory podcast, and I'm your host, Cindy Robinson. The Kid Factory is a not-for-profit aimed at finding cutting-edge tools for healing both our families and ourselves. Come join me as we take a deeper dive into all things parenting and mental health. But before we start this part of our journey, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, as well as follow the full journey at thekidfactory.org. Okay, now here we go.
Here we go.
Woohoo!
Here we go.
Take one.
Nice. We're ready. As I've always wanted to talk to a parent with their child because I think sometimes kids think the grass is greener on the adult side, and adults say, oh, being a kid is so easy. And I don't think it's that easy for any of
Yeah.
us, to be
No.
honest.
No, I think we
No.
all wish. I mean, we exactly like we said before. I think we all wish we had it differently. When
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to realize the joy.
What you're in right now is the best you can be in.
Right, and be grateful for what you have right now, right? And sit in that joy. So we try to teach that.
Yeah, there's definitely awesome stuff about being a kid, but you know what? I really can go buy Krispy Kreme donuts right now and eat them for lunch and no one can stop me. And that is still true about being an adult. So
Yeah,
it can be pretty good on the adult side too.
but you're kind of jealous of that concept.
That's what you have to look forward to. It's a true story. I've done it. Okay, so I have questions for each of you because I think it's going to help people who are listening to my podcast climb into the mind of a child, a 9-year-old, not really child, like young lady, and it will help people climb into the minds of a mom. So thank
Well,
you for
I
doing
will grab your mind.
that.
hopefully, well, and Cyla just turned 8 too, so I don't know if you knew that.
8.
She's 8, yeah, just turned in December, so,
Wow.
although sometimes I would challenge her to,
A 16-year-old.
exactly, sometimes.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
Yes, well, with the wisdom of an 8-year-old, you have a lot to teach us.
Mm.
So I'm going to ask you your first question, okay? You ready? Okay. Do you think kids are allowed to feel all of their feelings openly? Or like some feelings okay and some feelings aren't? Are you allowed to feel everything? What's it like feeling as a kid?
I really, really love enjoying all the feels with this mama right here. She gives
Aw.
me the ability to. Most people give their kids abilities, like me. They give their kids, or the me's, ability to feel all the feels, and some feels like bad and really, 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 really negative feels. People block those off, so you're more in a positive range and not in a negative state.
Yeah.
But would you feel like are you free to feel what you
Yes.
wanna feel?
Yes. I feel free to feel what I want to feel.
Even when it's negative?
Yes.
Because sometimes feeling those feels are the bad ones are just as important, don't you think? Or do you think, I should ask?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't always, even the ones that don't feel good, we need to feel them. So
Yeah.
it's not really so much if you want to or not, but just that you're allowed to when you need to.
Yeah.
You can get frustrated.
Mm.
Well, good. I'm glad that you can feel all the feels and that your mom lets you feel them. I
Like
appreciate that.
feeling the feeling singing.
Yeah, she
and she
feels
lets you
all the
feel
feels, and they just keep coming, yeah.
that's how it's supposed to be. Alright, my next question for you is what do you wish adults knew? So if you could represent all kids, what is it that you really wish that we just knew and as soon as you said it, we would believe it?
that we are braver and we are more capable of more things than you think. I think most of the time we are put down and their parents' trust levels are down and we're braver and stronger and more capable of doing things higher than that level.
I agree with you. So you
Mm.
think you could make more big decisions for
And
yourself
yeah.
than what most adults think you can do?
Mhm.
I agree with you. And science agrees with you too, by the way. It says that right about 8 years old, you start developing the ability to make big choices
Mm.
pretty much as well as any adult. Can you
Wow.
believe that?
Wow.
All right. And then what advice do you have for kids? Like kids out there who are scared to be themselves. Have you ever had that feeling when you get to a new
Mhm.
school or something like that and you don't know if you're going to have anything in common with anyone?
Right.
You don't know if you can be yourself or not.
Mhm.
What do you do?
I normally take a deep breath and tilt my chin up and take a deep breath and repeat in my head, everything is okay and you can do it.
Yeah. And it works?
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you think most kids can be themselves? Like,
You can be yourself as long as you believe and you want to.
I think some kids are just scared, right?
Mhm. Definitely.
Yeah. But I think you're helping give them some courage to be able to do that. And
Mm.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, so, hmm, I'm gonna pivot to your mom for a little bit if that's okay, but you
Yeah.
chime in. If you think mom's, like, not telling me the whole story, then you chime in and say, I don't think so, mom."
Oh, she
Okay?
will.
Oh,
Because as we know, you're 8 years old now, you pretty much know just as much as us adults, okay?
mhm.
Alright, so mom, what's the biggest challenge we talked about biggest challenges for kids. What's the biggest challenge for you as a parent right now, especially a parent today in today's environment?
Managing the chaos, that's coming at us from every direction, from technology, from news sources, the up and down information wave from the COVID-19 pandemic, and how that's affecting how that information continues to affect our kids, whether they hear it directly from news sources or by word of mouth, or and kind of controlling that narrative a little bit. I'm probably not as traditional as most in the way that we parent. She's our only child. She's very inquisitive. And because of that, we're probably a little bit more honest and transparent with what's happening in the world. We talk on the show about some pretty big ideas and racism, bullying, the environment, politics, religion, things like that, and try to share all sides in a fair and balanced way. And I think that's probably a really big challenge for grown-ups to wrap their head around right now is like what information can we share is appropriate to share, and then how do we share it, and how do we trust the source that it came from, so we're telling our kids the truth, and how much of that truth do we care to share.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on us to filter through information that we're still grappling with ourselves, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think that, we've had situations very recently, like with the insurrection, that it was hard to shield my own emotional space and still show up to her the way she needed me to in a strong, safe place. And I think that's like kind of an ongoing, it's an ongoing challenge. It makes you a better person when you try to navigate your way through it,
Yeah.
and can deepen your connection as well, which is something I'm profoundly proud of.
Yeah, I think you should wade through it with them. I mean, if
Yeah,
you don't know and they don't know, you can both not know together.
yeah.
Cyla, are you okay with the fact that your mom doesn't know everything about everything?
Mhm.
You're gonna give her some grace to learn while you learn?
Mhm.
You teach me quite a bit though,
Not
too.
so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, on a regular basis, I would say. If we don't know the answer, one thing I love about our family dynamic is, something her dad kind of
Does is he
really
pulls out his phone and like,
well, we'll search for it, we'll go get the answers, and then try to understand together. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great perspective to have. It's a good place. It's a humbling place to be, but it takes a little bit of the pressure off.
Yeah, learning together, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
And then I feel like, when they do come across some of this very intense information and ask those questions, if you don't know the answer to it, if you can step into it together with them, um, that just creates trust and empathy and compassion, I think that you can't really get anywhere else. So
Yeah.
I welcome it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on that note, I was gonna ask about what you worry about for her, and is it that she has to wade through these things on her own at some point, or what do you worry about most for Cyla as she becomes an independent person?
Well, I think that, of course, I'm concerned about all the big stuff like privacy and when it comes to technology and all of that, and what's too much. What is too much adult content and adult topic and information, and like where's the threshold between that and just letting a kid be a kid? Because I think our idea as adults of letting a kid be a kid is so different. We couldn't possibly wrap our brains around what it's like to be a kid today because of
Right.
the information overload and the content and the technology is moving at the speed of light. So,
and because you're not a kid,
yeah,
I am.
I'm not a kid, and
Agree.
even when I was a kid, my being a kid was, you know, 35 years ago, and it was a different kid then. And so when our grandparents or when our parents, your grandparents, talk about, you know, just let them be a kid, or you have other adult influences saying that, like, I think we forget that being a kid today is a lot different,
Mhm.
and you have to kind of change your perspective of what that is. But yeah,
Like
the idea of that dumbing down the knowledge a little bit so that
like
she can just play.
like you might have had some experience, like you might have had a bad experience with something, but that thing is not the same today and
Sure.
it's been changed.
Yeah.
And you won't let me do it because you're afraid that's going to happen to me again.
Sure.
Mm,
Oh, my own fears for sure. Absolutely. My own
yeah.
ego, my own fears, things that have my own traumas, they come
Yeah,
back and
we carry 'em
uh
with us.
yeah, and you don't want that to happen, but you also have to trust, I think, that things have changed.
Mhm.
You're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
I like The Self-Driven Child is one of my favorite books, and it talks a lot about that today parenting has to be collaborative because we're so far separated from each generation that goes forward more than what existed in the past, and that they are the expert on themselves. And even though we might have felt a certain way about something like exactly like Silas said, something you didn't like as a kid doesn't necessarily mean she won't like it, because she's her own unique DNA mix up over there.
Yes, she is.
So how has mom like, Cyla might think you were born a mom, right? Like, she probably thinks you were born mom. So,
Was I
what have
born
been
wrong?
No.
So, what has changed? What would she be most surprised to know even that has changed about you since becoming a mom?
Oh, absolutely everything has
Mhm.
changed
You
since
were a totally different savage then.
There
Sad.
is a lot of truth to that, child. There is a
Mhm.
lot of truth. Ask around. No, I think absolutely everything changed becoming a mom. Priorities, mindset, hormones, body, the way I carried myself in the world, responsibility. I mean, absolutely everything. What would you be the most surprised? I think some of my wild card stuff.
Mhm.
Mom used to be a DJ and run
Ooh,
nightclubs, and that's how I met.
Stay up all night.
Yeah, and
You
stayed
wouldn't
up
sleep.
ooh,
Mhm.
and
and now you
dancing.
have a bedtime, the
Now mom has the
hypocrisy.
bedtime, 10 o'clock. That's right. So I think there's a little bit of that. If I'm what I hope to have deeper conversations about as she grows up is, what I want her to know is more, the trauma that got me to be where I am today, because I
Mhm.
think that, um, that shapes us, even the bad stuff.
Absolutely, and how has, I mean, obviously being respectful when that right time is, but how has your own childhood influenced your parenting strategy? Does it play a huge role, or did you have to kind of scratch it and start from scratch, or how do you view that?
If she ever listens to this, she'll not it won't feel so great, but, I learned how to be a parent today almost to go against everything I was taught.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, if
Think
I'm
that
being honest, my mother's a wonderful woman, my dad did his absolute best, he could, but it
Or
just
dads.
my dad's I had several.
Mhm.
And so, and I had a lot of great parental figures that probably taught me more than the actual parenting style. My mom did the best she could, right? But I know that I could do better. And I committed
Right.
to that when I was when I was first pregnant and when I knew we thought about having kids, and I committed to that with my partner. And, it was one of the reasons
My
that,
daddy.
yeah, I knew that he was going to be the man that I needed him to be. And he is.
Yeah.
That's awesome, and I think a lot of us are in that place. I think a lot of us can relate to that, and so I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
And then let's end on a positive note of what do you find most joyful about parenting?
Mm.
Oh, just basking in her magic. I mean, absolutely something every day is just a phenomenal combination of spirit and energy and creativity and beauty and joy and the hard stuff too. Constantly, I mean, teaching me about the beauty in the world and all the ways that you can show it, and watching you light people up and pick at me.
Just lighting you up right now.
And seeing the joy that she brings to the people that we love the most. And
Like
now, yeah.
telling my silly jokes, like why did the chicken cross the road?
Well, tell me a joke, Cyla.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting bird.
Interrupting
Troop tweet
bird who
tweet tweet.
How rude, interrupting bird. Alright, Cyla, what do you find most joyful about being a kid? What's the absolutely best thing that we should all be jealous of as adults?
Getting to experience all the all the goofball stuff and all the upside down my head I am, and the creativity and ability to be yourself and not worry about doing everything. Oh no, papers! I have to finish my paper.
You have permission to be silly, don't you, as a
Mhm.
kid? If we're so silly, if we splash around in puddles in public, don't people tend to get annoyed with us, right? But they let you guys do it, don't they?
Yeah. Splash,
Yeah.
splash.
You get to just be playful, be play and creative.
And I also get to let the dogs lick my nose.
Well, adults can do that too, you know.
I know, but they don't like it. I like it.
Oh, yeah, so if you hold on to that, you might become an adult who still likes dogs licking their nose and still likes to be silly and creative, so just
Still
hold on
like
to it.
pythons.
Yeah, well, that too.
All the things, and likes ice cream.
Yes.
Cotton candy ice cream, is that what you said?
Cotton candy explosion.
Oh gosh, an explosion of cotton candy. That's
Yeah.
is was cotton candy not explosive enough?
I know that
No,
they had to put that extra in.
they had to put
Yeah.
dried cotton candy in it
Wow, well,
that
that's
popped and
interesting.
sizzled in your mouth.
Oh, that's an explosion. It's an accurate name.
Mhm.
Well, thank you guys for talking with me today. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate you taking time.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
We're so it's an honor to be a part of your tribe and watch all the things that you create. One of I have to say this, the most magical gift I gave this year for the holidays was the potions box.
Potions box.
And we recreated a potions box because of you and your Instagram stories. And it was the biggest hit of everything.
Yes.
We had to create an entire section of
House.
her room for potion making and creativity.
Mhm.
I kind of like love and loathe it at the same time because it's a glitter explosion.
Yes,
But it was one of the most meaningful, magical gifts that I could give, and that was because of you. It really what
Aw.
resonated with her. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Well, that means so much to me. You have no idea. To become obsessed with Rachael and Cyla like I am, search their podcast, She Sounds Like Me, on any of the platforms you prefer, or just go to their website at www.shesoundslikeme.com. Yay, you finished the whole episode. For more about The Kid Factory, go to thekidfactory.org or follow us on Instagram at _kid_factory. Cindy also sees parents and teens individually for parent and intuitive healing coaching. All of that information can be found on the website. Again, it's thekidfactory.org.